You only have one life to live, so get the most out of it. On Good Life, Great Life, join me, Brian Highfield, and my guests as we share success stories, habits, mindsets, and lessons learned by successful people. These lessons are not taught in schools, but are critical for getting ahead in life. Whether you want a successful business or career, optimal health, or a lifestyle that most people just dream of, Good Life, Great Life has you covered. After retiring from a successful corporate career in my 40s, I founded multi-million-dollar businesses in the sports and healthcare arenas. Now, I help everyday people maximize their lives and speak regularly at seminars, on podcasts, and radio shows to share principles on the topics of health, wealth, and happiness. Don't let a good life get in the way of a great life. Join me today on Good Life, Great Life. Well, welcome to another episode. And today we have with us Ankush Sharma. So Ankush Sharma is the co-founder and CEO of DataToBiz, an AI and BI company based in India. Welcome to the program, Ankush.
Yeah, thanks, Brian. Thanks for this opportunity.
Absolutely. Yeah, and we want to get to know you a little bit. So could you give us a little flavor about your background and what you're up to right now?
Sure. Okay, so Brian, like myself, I am a techie by background. I have done my bachelor's in computer science. So I have graduated in 2015, around 6 years back. So while I was in college, I was not doing like something of this sort. I mean, I've never imagined like I'll run my own company. I was more into the programmings and databases and, thinking all those things. But then, when I passed out of college, I joined a couple of organizations. Then I joined one of the startup in India only, in my Chandigarh region. So over there, while I was working in that company, for over the period of 2 years, I worked in multiple roles over there. I started as a software engineer, but then eventually, I started migrating into data science, data analytics and all. So over there, I believe two things happened. So first of all, it was my very first interaction with the data and the power of data, what it can do to the businesses and decision making and all. And secondly, because I was working in a startup company, so I was kind of enjoying it because I realized while working over there, as an individual, I enjoy while, I work on bigger problem statements. I look at the things from a very holistic level rather than just working on a task-based kind of thing. Right. So then these two things aligned, I would say. And then I found my co-founder as well in the same organization, Mr. Parinchil Singh. So he's still the current co-founder in the organization DataToBiz. So then, this idea of DataToBiz came in and we thought of, okay, we are applying data science, our knowledge in the current organization, but the application of data science or machine learning was very limited at that point of time in that specific domain. So we thought of, okay, let's take this thing outside to the world. And I would say for us, it was not a kind of very eureka moment. Okay, this idea came to us and then we thought of starting the startup and fundings and all. Frankly speaking, before starting DataToBiz, I had zero experience of how to run a business, right? I am the first generation kind of entrepreneur. So I have not seen anyone in my business, in my family doing the business, right? So I believe it was a leap of faith, a trust in myself. I kind of enjoy working this, like whatever I'm doing. So rest, everything can be figured out on the go. So that's how I believe this company started. And we started with a 2-member team, me and my co-founder at that time in 2018, I would say. And now we are a team of almost 50 people, right? And we have expanded it. And the good thing I like about my business is so all the growth is organic. So we are not, a very well-funded company because I, from the day one, have believed if we are making something, it has to be profitable from day one. So that's how I would say DataToBiz started. And now we are, sailing that tide. Let's see how far we go.
Awesome. So tell me a little bit about DataToBiz. So what does the company actually do for other companies?
Sure. So as I mentioned, Brian, like DataToBiz is primarily a consulting organization. And we have our niche working in data science solutions. So you can consider us as a B2B IT company, but having our specialization, having our niche in data-driven solutions. So ultimately, we are consulting various businesses, we are consulting various companies, people, in becoming them data intelligent, because we all know in today's world everyone is talking about data, and data is something that gives the competitive advantages. It can predict future as well in some of the cases. So that's what we do actually. It's more sort of a consulting B2B company, and we help other companies to become data intelligent, and we help them in that complete life cycle of the company, right from starting when they start thinking, okay, now I have this data, what to do with this data, to becoming the very advanced version of themselves in using predictive analytics, forecasting the future trends and all. So that's what we do primarily in DataToBiz. But as the founders, we have that vision of, okay, this is not something that we will be doing. This is not the only thing that we'll be doing. So we have some other plans as well of building some products over the period of time, getting some more ideas and building some specific custom solutions and specific dedicated solutions for some other industries as well. So that's where a couple of years back we started our first product called Prep AI. So Prep AI is something that we are building for edtech companies and content creators. With the help of artificial intelligence or AI solutions, we are solving the need of content generation in the form of assessments or question papers that is required by them. So in today's world, there is a lot of dependency on various human SMEs, plus a lot of cost is required, in order to get that content that can be consumed by their students or maybe their audiences. So that's where we are adding value through Prep AI, by automating that process as much as we can. So that product is out there in the market from the last 1 year now and doing pretty fine in terms of revenues, in terms of customer growth. And now we are just about to launch our second product called Higher Lake AI. So again, that's a AI powered product, but that is something that we are building for the human resources department. So because as a company, while we were growing or while we were expanding, so we felt this need. There is a lot of manual process that is involved in the complete hiring process, right from creating a job description to shortlisting the candidates to have multiple rounds of interviews. And then after having all that process, the candidate does not join you. So we are trying to somehow automate this process as much as we can. And ultimately the human involvement will be required whenever there is an option or there is a requirement of making a decision. So for example, if you are a recruiter or if you are an HR in an organization, and if you say, okay, I need one machine learning engineer having this much years of experience, having these skills, having this much communication capabilities, plus because I am a startup company, then I am looking for a person who is enthusiastic or energetic, or who is not that kind of mindset, not that much structured. So with the help of our product, we are trying to identify all these characteristics, all these traits, through AI. And then finally, we are giving a final list to the recruiter. Okay, based upon your preferences, these are the 10 candidates that we found. And these are the scores for each and every trait, whether it's communication, it's technology, it's whatever it is. And then as a recruiter, you can take a final call. Okay, these are the top 3 candidates whom I want to offer. So we are trying to reduce that time, first of all, in the complete recruitment process. Plus, we are trying to reduce the manual effort as much as we can. So as a company, our services business will keep on growing, and we'll be, making it we have a vision of creating the most impactful data analytics company in the world. That's what we are currently doing. But on the way, we will be creating multiple products just like Higher Lake and Prep AI. So that's the overall vision of the company.
So tell me about the moment when you decided to create this company with your co-founder. Were you an employee at the time with another company? Were you still employed?
So I would say, because frankly speaking, I was pretty young in my career, and I just had 1.5 years of job, so I did not have that much financial security. So when we started this company, or when we came up with this idea, so it was something that we were doing it with our existing job, because we were not sure whether it will work, it will not work. So it was more sort of an experiment that we were doing over the weekends and after the working hours, just to make sure. And what good thing happened is, like in our initial phase, we got a good customer from one of our references, right? They were running this some business in our local region only, and they were facing some issues. Okay, how to optimize this, how to streamline this, how to get best out of it. So then, for us, frankly speaking, it was not that difficult because they were on a very basic level at that point of time. But the only challenge was time, because we were working somewhere else and we had some more liabilities, some responsibilities at that company. So I remember like that was a startup. So, we used to get free somewhere at around 9 p.m., 10 p.m.
Yeah.
And then we just quickly used to have our dinner, and then we used to rush to our makeshift office. That was again in someone's house in the initial days. So then we used to work till 1 p.m., 1 a.m., 2 a.m., just to make sure things get going. So then when we solved that problem, and just to give you the numbers, so the very first customer that we served, so they were a marketing kind of agency.
Okay.
Right? They were spending almost 20,000, no, so not 20,000, but 50,000 USDs per month in the marketing alone. Right. But with the software that we created, or with the application that we created, so they were able to save almost 20,000 USDs without much loss in revenue. So I would say that was the kind of kickoff movement that gave motivation to us. Okay, if we just work 2-3 hours daily basis, and over the 15 days of time, we were able to save this much money for a company, then what impact we can create for other organizations who are having that humongous amount of data and that humongous amount of opportunity.
Yeah, so kind of create like a case study for yourself that you can use for marketing after you had your first customer and you were able to save them that much money. And that should be able to springboard your business and show other clients what you can do.
Right. Agree. And I believe for me, it was not just the case study, it was the confidence that I needed. Okay, I can do. So that was the kind of triggering point that motivated me to start this and take it full time.
Yeah, so it's kind of a proof of your concept and proof that you're onto a solid business idea.
Yes. And it was proof for me, I would say, again, rather than for my customers. It gave me confidence that I can do it. So that's the kicking point for me.
Yeah. So now you've grown. You said so. You started out with 2. Now you're up to 50 or so people. Yes. So what were some of the challenges you had in growing that business?
So yeah, I would say at every step, every phase, it's a challenge, right? So frankly speaking, when you grow from 2 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 50, so every phase is a new phase for you because you have not been earlier over there, right? So. And when you grow or when you move to a next phase, the number of variables or number of unknowns start increasing. So when I say number of unknowns, for example, if you are growing from 2 to 5, then it means, first of all, you have to grow your business, like more business or more money should start coming in. That's how you will be able to pay the salaries. And then you should be able to hire those people as well. Like at a given point of time, you can't do each and everything. Ultimately, you have to grow, right? So then at that point of time, I would say these were the challenges, like how to sustain with the cash flow, how to sustain with the hiring cycle. Then when we grew from 5 to 10 or 5 to 20, then it was more sort of like, again, keep on increasing the revenue, keep on hiring more and more people, plus building a right culture for the organization. Because culture, we feel, is a very important thing. And as an organization, we have been pretty much focused on what kind of culture we want to build. And, quite honestly, we have built a very employee friendly kind of culture, right? So that is something that we thought of. And then when we were 20, so then COVID hit. I mean, no one was prepared for COVID. It was March 2020. Right. And we had a very small office in one of the incubators, just hosting around 12, 15 people. Right. And then this COVID thing came in. So frankly speaking, we were not sure like how to handle this. And we all know like much of the bigger companies were even not sure like how to handle the scenario. Right. But somehow I told you in the starting, like we had that leap of faith, like let's believe in ourselves and whatever will come on the way, we'll figure out. So with that thing, I would say COVID also passed. And since last 2.5 years, we have been working remotely. For us, most of the growth that has happened in the pandemic period only. And I would say it was more sort of a good thing for us in the hindsight, because now, there is no limitation of location and we can hire more people. We can hire with more clients globally. So yeah, I would say that's the kind of journey. And major challenges that I highlighted is, number one, how to keep on increasing the sales, right? How to maintain the cash flow so that the salaries of the employees are also not affected. Plus, we are able to invest in our growth. Like we don't want to become stagnant. Like after 50 people, we are not growing. Second thing was hiring or building a strong hiring pipeline. So that, whenever a new opportunity comes in, or whenever our existing people or existing projects get doubled up, then it should not be a delay, because it's more sort of a demand and supply problem. If any one of the thing is hampering, then ultimately the overall system is not going well, right? And third important challenge we faced, or we are still facing, is how to build a very great culture in the organization. And I am quite happy or satisfied till the time we have worked till whatever we have right now. And I would say now we are planning to make this company of 100 people team in the next financial year. That's the overall goal that we have kept for ourselves. So again, the challenges gets double. You have to generate double the cash flow, double the hiring pipeline. We have to build a middle level management, because ultimately it's not just me and my co-founder who can handle all the things, right? So yeah, I mean, these are some of the challenges which I wanted to highlight.
So how? So when you started with two, and now you're up to 50, and you're talking about that, you need some sort of middle management layer. What's the struggles of delegating? Because that's where I find like business owners have trouble, like letting go of things and letting people take on more responsibility to kind of free up your time. How's that working?
Sure. I believe you mentioned a very good point. Like as founders, because you are never tired of doing the thing, so you believe you can do each and everything, right? But I would say one thing I have realized, like I am not perfect in all the scenarios, whatever are required to run a company. For example, there's a marketing team, there is a sales team, there's a human resources department, there's a project management department, there's a technology department, and number of things are there. So for me, what thing has worked is I have always tried to hire people who are better than me in a given department. So for example, if we talk about marketing, then so our marketing manager right now, I believe he's 10x better than what I can think of in terms of marketing. Similarly on the sales side, similarly on the recruitment side, similarly on the project management side. So I believe delegating becomes a little easier when you hire people who are smarter than you. And I have a very strong philosophy, like if you are hiring someone in the middle management, then he or she should be smarter than you. That's when he should be there. Otherwise, he or she is not adding that much value. So that's how I believe we think. But yes, it's not like we have completely resolved the problem. We are still learning like how to delegate, how to make sure we are saving our time and investing onto some bigger things. But yeah, things are going on and we are learning and doing.
Awesome. Now it's interesting that you mentioned building a culture, because you saw early on that was important to have in there. Yep. So tell us a little bit more about your strategy for developing a culture within your company, and what's that culture? What do you want that culture to be?
Sure. So what I believe, Brian, like culture is a reflection of what founders think or what founders are, right? So that's my philosophy. And I believe in my case, I am not that kind of pure businessman, you can say in typical terms. Like I value people more than money. I value emotions more, than the what loss we are getting and all those things. So I believe for me, if I talk on my behalf, it was not that big struggle for me to build a culture, because ultimately whatever culture I had in mind, it's a reflection of me only. So what kind of person I am in my day-to-day life, basically that's how I believe, we are trying to create that culture. But yes, with time, more and more people start coming in, more and more ideas start coming in. So we have a very good recruitment or a HR team as well, right? So yes, if I talk about my ideal perspective of what kind of culture we should be having, so we always feel like work or company is not something that an employee should consider, okay, this is something, now I worked and now I want to spend time with my family. So for us, working in a company is a part of your life only as an employee, right? And it has to be both ways. For example, if company needs you, for example, you have signed up for 8 hours per day kind of stuff, but in some of the scenarios company needs more of your time, like they need 10 hours, 12 hours. Some of the days there's a project delivery. So then employees should be giving that time to the company. But on the other hand, in some of the cases when employee needs that freedom, that because maybe ultimately we all are humans, we are not machines, right? So sometimes we do have bad days. Sometimes we are not able to focus. Sometimes we are not able to concentrate. So then company should also understand, like, this person stood with me when I needed the most. So now it's my time to stand with that person, right? So for us, that is the kind of culture we are trying to create. And in terms of leave policy, in terms of like other things, we are trying to match ourselves with most of the typical MNCs that are out there. But we are also, I'll not say like it's a very laid back kind of job. You just log in and log out after 8 hours. That's not the kind of company we are. It's more sort of a very competitive company where everyone is enjoying on what he's working. It is not just he's logging in for fulfilling the hours, because if you're not enjoying what you're working, then you might not stay for longer duration, right? So we are trying to create, or we are trying to bring that kind of work that is ultimately motivating the person as well, challenging the person as well. Okay, I am working outside of my comfort zone while I'm working on this, right? So that's how it is. I mean, on one hand, we have been very empathetic to our employees. We understand their problems. We understand their personal challenges. But on the other hand, we, like, doing a normal work, we can't be the world's most impactful analytics company. So for that, we have to do something different, right? So we are doing challenging work. We always push ourselves. We always push our limits. And that's being taken in a very positive manner. Like, people also do enjoy, okay, now I'm being pushed and I'm learning something new. And one more important thing I wanted to highlight over here. So as founders or as company, what we very firmly believe, like, if you work in DataToBiz maybe for 1.5 to 2 years, then the amount of knowledge or amount of satisfaction that you will gain in those 2 years, so similar kind of satisfaction you will gain if you work maybe around 5 years in some other company outside DataToBiz. So we are squeezing that knowledge of 5 years or that hard work of 5 years into 2 years, and that is giving a growth as well to the individual. So that's how we believe, and that's what kind of culture we are creating.
Awesome. I like what you said in the beginning there, that the culture is reflecting that of the founders, which I really like. And I also like your tip about hiring people smarter than you. So I think that's always good for a company in a growth phase, to hire people better than them. We're running out of time, but before we go, how can our audience learn more about you, get in touch with you, or learn more about DataToBiz?
Sure. So I would say we have our website out there, datatobiz.com. You guys can reach over there. Plus, we have various social media handles as well. We keep on posting what new we are doing, what new research we are doing as an organization. Because in the field where we are, we can't just settle down, okay, we are doing the application. We do have to innovate. We do have to reinvent ourselves in technology and the way of working. So yeah, those can be read over there. Plus, I'm available over LinkedIn. I have my email ID, ankush.sharma@datatobiz.com. So if anyone wants to discuss anything, do reach out to me, do write to me, right? And I always believe it's a kind of mutual effort or a teamwork effort, rather than a single person knows each and everything. So I never say like I'm a perfectionist. I am still learning. So it's just in that learning process, we are trying to build this company. And this company is not just by me or my co-founder. It is because the kind of good people we have in the organization, and we have been very lucky to have them.
Awesome. Sounds great. So our guest today has been Ankush Sharma. Ankush is the co-founder and CEO of DataToBiz. Thank you for being with the program, Ankush.
Same here, Brian. Thanks for having me on this call.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Good Life, Great Life, brought to you by Brian Highfield. We hope you enjoyed listening to this week's guests and stories. If you like what you've heard, please consider subscribing wherever you listen to podcasts.